Rejoice, ye penny-pinching nerds, rejoice! For this is a season unbound by our bank accounts, unfettered by fees. A legendary age of liberty. This is the summer of free! Hey guys, Peter Franson here from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. We're continuing our celebration of the summer of free in order to help us get control of our finances and be better stewards of what God has given us. And this time we are focusing on free anime that you can watch at crunchyroll.com. Now, I gotta say, I am not a fan of most anime. When I find something that I like, though, it's really, really cool. But last year, I made up the list for anime, and, you know, since my tastes are very specific, I wanted to reach outside of myself. So this time, I reached out to Audie Thacker, Jazz Act 13, on the Christian Geek Central forums, who is known there for being like a big fan of anime, and I asked him for recommendations. So if last year's recommendations of mine didn't resonate with you, maybe his will. Rurouni Kenshin, I'm going to butcher these names. Rurouni Kenshin is the first one that he recommends. I'm going to read the synopses. Is that plural? I don't know. I'm going to read the synopsis for each one of these based on its entry at like a Wikipedia. Okay, so Rurouni Kenshin. The story begins in Japan, 1878, and follows a former assassin who disappears to become a wandering swordsman who protects the people of Japan with a vow to never take another life. Well, that's interesting. He's a wandering swordsman, but he vows never to take another life. We'll see how that pans out. The manga revolves around themes of atonement, peace, and romance, and the anime series is based on the manga. It's not manga, it's manga, isn't it? Crap. Next one, My Hero Academia. Or is it Academia? I'm not sure. You take your pick, and you can edit this video for me if you want. The story follows a boy born with superpowers in a world where they are the norm. Born without superpowers in a world where they are the norm, but who still dreams of becoming a superhero himself, and is scouted by the world's greatest hero, who shares his powers with him after recognizing his value, and enrolls him in a high school for heroes in training. So that's My Hero Academia. Full Metal Alchemist. You can always count on Japanese anime and Japanese RPGs to especially Japanese anime, to give you these really interesting titles that you're kind of like, something maybe was lost in translation there. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the subtitle. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Brothers Edward and Alphonse Elric's reckless. Okay, brothers Edward and Alphonse Elric. Okay. So the brothers Edward and Alphonse Elric's reckless defiance of alchemy's law of equivalent exchange resulted in no miraculous reunion with their mother, but a hellish nightmare. Half of Ed's limbs were torn from his body, and Al awoke to discover his young soul transferred to a suit of armor. That's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Next up, Your Lie in April. Piano prodigy Kosei Arima dominated the competition and has become famous among child musicians, but also controversial. After his mother died, he had a mental breakdown while performing at a piano recital at the age of 11. As a result, he is no longer able to hear the sound of his piano, even though his hearing is perfectly fine. 2 years later, Kosei hasn't touched the piano and views the world in monochrome, without any flair or color. He has resigned himself to living out his life with his good friends, until one day a girl changes everything. Kaori Miyazono, a 14-year-old audacious, free-spirited violinist whose playing style reflects her manic personality, helps Kosei return to the music world and shows that it should be free and mold-breaking, unlike the structured and rigid style Kosei was used to. And then Audie Thacker adds a comment here, says, watch only if you want to have your heart ripped into a million sobbing pieces. So this is like more of a kind of a drama anime. Next up, Mob Psycho 100. And Audie adds as a note, despite how the name reads, it's not about anything involving the mafia. It's about a boy who's a very strong psychic and the adventures he gets into. And the synopsis from Wikipedia explains a little bit what's up with the title. Shigeo Kageyama is an average middle school boy nicknamed Mob. And that's based on the Japanese name or word Mobu, which means background character. And he has that nickname for lacking a sense of presence. Although he looks like an inconspicuous person, he is in fact a powerful esper. As he grows As he grows older, Mob realizes that his psychic powers are strengthening and becoming more dangerous. To avoid his power getting out of control, he constantly lives a life under an emotional shackle. Mob wants to live a normal life just like the others, but a barrage of trouble keeps coming after him. With the suppressed emotions growing inside Mob little by little, his power threatens to break through its limits. Blah! And then you have like freaking Akira moments, maybe. I don't know. I've never seen it. But anyway, that's Mob Psycho 100. Let's see here. Psychopath. The description reads, the story takes place in an authoritarian future dystopia where omnipresent public censors continuously scan the mental states of every passing citizen. Collected data on both present mentality and aggregated personality data is used to gauge the probability of that citizen committing a crime, the rating referred to as that citizen's psychopaths. Authorities are alerted whenever excessive ratings are detected, and officers of the Public Safety Bureau are dispatched with weapons called Dominators, energy pistols that modulate their power in response to the target's psychopaths. The story follows members of Unit 1 of the Public Safety Bureau's Criminal Investigation Division. So again, that's Psychopaths. And I think there's maybe a video game or something that's either in development or already out now. So evidently a pretty popular series. Erased is the next one. And this is actually the last I have for you of Audie's recommendations, and I do have one recommendation of my own on this list at the very end. Erased. The story follows a man who somehow possesses an ability that sends him back in time moments before a life-threatening incident, allowing him to prevent it from happening. When his mother is murdered by an unknown assailant, his ability suddenly sends him back 18 years to when he was still in elementary school, giving him the opportunity to prevent a kidnapping incident that took the lives of 3 of his childhood friends, 2 classmates, and 1 young girl studying at a school nearby. All right, so thank you very much, Audie Thacker, for all of those recommendations. My one recommendation that I'm going to add to this list is Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. Now, I gotta say, I watched this entire series when it played on Cartoon Network back when I was in college, so this would have been like late 90s, early 2000s, I think, is when it aired on Cartoon Network, and I really enjoyed it. It was I think the only anime series to date that I have watched from beginning to end. Enjoyed it enough to watch it from beginning to end. For me, I really don't like the silliness and the humor of Japanese anime. I find it kind of grating. It just doesn't connect with me. And this series, it has a few of those little moments, but to my memory, there wasn't like a talking cat or something that's like a character that's treated just like all the other characters, and no one mentions the fact that it's a talking cat, So there's not that kind of stuff going on that I remember in this series, or a character who's like his function is just to be the silly character. There are characters that are maybe a little bit more silly than others, but for the most part, it's straight-laced, and it really is going for something grounded, And so I really was able to kind of engage with it and enjoy it. Now, the version that's on Crunchyroll is the dubbed version. So this isn't the kind of thing where you'll be able to put it on, while you're playing a video game or something. You're going to have to read the subtitles as you go along. I'm actually kind of curious about that since I've only seen the dubbed version, and a lot of times dubs can really kind of grate on my nerves, and so I'll actually prefer checking out something with its original language track and just reading subtitles. But anyway, that is available. Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, available at crunchyroll.com, and the description reads, in the distant future, mankind has colonized space with clusters of space colonies at each of the 5 Earth-Moon Lagrange points. Down on the Earth, the nations have come together to form the United Earth Sphere Alliance. This alliance oppresses the colonies with its vast military might. The colonies, wishing to be free, join together in a movement headed by the pacifist Hiro Yui. In the year after Colony 175, so their dating system is after Colony 175, so like instead of like AD or BCE or whatever, then it's like after Colony 175. So in the year after Colony 175, Yui is shot dead by an assassin, forcing the colonies to search for other paths to peace. The assassination prompts 5 disaffected scientists from the Organization of the Zodiac, more commonly referred to as Oz, to turn rogue upon the completion of the mobile suit prototype Tall Geese. That sounds really intimidating, doesn't it? Tall geese. Oh, anime. The story of Gundam Wing begins in the year after Colony 195, with the start of Operation Meteor, the scientists' plan for revenge against Oz. The operation involves 5 teenage boys, because of course it would, who have each been chosen and trained by each of the 5 scientists, then sent to Earth independently in extremely advanced mobile suits, one designed by each of the scientists, known as Gundams, called such because they are constructed from a rare and astonishingly durable material called Gundanium alloy, which can only be created in outer space. Each Gundam is sent from a different colony, and the pilots are initially unaware of each other's existence. So anyway, that would be my pick, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. All that stuff at crunchyroll.com. There was a ton of stuff and a ton of different ways to browse the content and find more of what you're looking for. If you have a favorite that's at crunchyroll.com, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. In the meantime, I hope you'll join us sometime over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth.
I'm not interested.